Won't replace a brand new broken lawnmower but will let me return and reorder? Okay. So I bought a riding lawnmower a few years ago from a big home store. I paid for delivery and upon said delivery it didn't start. The delivery truck had left by the time I had gotten gas in it and figured this out, so I called the store. I explained that my brand new just delivered today lawnmower was not starting, and immediately the person on the phone asked me if I purchased the extended warranty. I hadn't, so they told me it would cost $100 to have them come get the lawnmower, and then however much more the repairs were. Mind you, this was brand freaking new. In my mind they should bring me a new one to replace the one that didn't work upon delivery. No matter how much I argued, this worker was sticking to their story. I quickly changed my tactic and asked what the return policy was. As long as a return was initiated within 30 days, I could have a full refund including the cost of delivery. And the store would come pick up the mower for me at no additional cost. So I pointed out that the store wouldn't replace my non-working item by taking one trip to my house to pick up the non-working one and bring me one that worked, and instead would make 2 trips to pick up the one that didn't work and then bring me the new one I purchased the second time as a totally different transaction. The worker said yes. And when I tried to point out how that made no sense, he didn't want to hear it. So right then and there I initiated a refund. I then immediately ordered a new one and had him set up the delivery date. After that date was set, we had to schedule the date for pickup of the old mower. And I made myself unavailable for any date other than the delivery date for the new one. So even though he had insisted they wouldn't just bring me a replacement mower and pick up the first one, they were now doing just that, but with the additional paperwork of processing a return in. Additional paperwork for delivery of the new mower. The manager called me later that day to apologize for the hassle, and they ended up waiving my delivery fee. I worked at a Lowe's in customer service. It's atrocious, but I can confirm that this type of shit is common. Most systems aren't set up to process what you need done. We literally had to return and then sell a new one to set up delivery. Quite often we'd set up an exchange with a delivery and then just swap out the items. Odds are that person was never trained for an exchange sale. 90% of the store I worked at wasn't trained on doing one. Heck, a good 90% weren't trained to do a return at all. I did something very similar with a certain department store that is all but gone now. My property is kinda hilly. So much so that a push mower won't work. Went to the department store and explained to the sales guy that we needed a riding mower that could handle the steep incline. A commercial mover was a bit out of budget. We purchased what the sales guy suggested, and a few days later it was delivered. Gassed it up. Started mowing and it stalled on the least steep incline. We called to complain and requested to return it. They had a silly return policy for any gas-powered items. They refused to take it back once it has fuel in it. So we found a much cheaper push mower that would at least work on the flat areas. So we requested an exchange. We also paid through PayPal, which their archaic POS system didn't really know how to process. Think CRT with orange on black. The pickup of the riding mower and the delivery of the push mower were a few days apart, with the pickup being first, so after they picked up the riding mower, we canceled the push mower order. The worker knew it was stupid. They didn't want to hear it because they couldn't do a damn thing about it. Sometimes workers are stuck with policies that they know are stupid, but don't have the authority to do anything about. Congrats on finding a workaround. But I'm surprised they just dropped off the first mower. When I bought mine, they put a small amount of fuel in and started it at the shop. Then on delivery the driver started it and drove it a little to show me that it worked. Then had me start and drive it so they knew I was doing it right. and wouldn't call about it not working if I, say, tried to start without the brake on. Don't you have any consumer protection laws? If the lawnmower didn't work, are they not legally obliged to repair or replace? Worker is paid $13 per hour. His manager is a dick and his feet hurt. He doesn't have the time or energy to fight store policy when it's not even his money on the line. The worker on the phone probably didn't want to hear it because they knew how stupid it was, but were powerless to make it run better. It would be interesting what the consumer law is over there. We have a system where if you purchase something and turns out that it is not working or in fit condition for use, there is a no questions asked requirement that the vendor makes things right entirely at their expense immediately. We also have a mandated 14-day buyer's remorse law that every internet-based vendor has to abide by with no questions asked. We have decent protection in this socialist hellhole called Norway. People are not paid enough to care. And sometimes they even get escalations for not following the policy thoroughly. I think he was just following policy word by word. It probably wasn't that worker's fault at all. If they weren't outright rude to you, then they probably just didn't want to hear it because they know it's stupid. Can't do anything about it without getting in trouble. And hear about it from countless other customers every day. I bought a vanity at a big box store and the marble backsplash was broken. I asked if they could give me a new one. They said no, but I could return the vanity, which I had installed at this point without the backsplash. So I bought a new one, left the store, opened the box and took the new backsplash out, but broken one in. Luckily it's the first thing when you open the box. Walked right back in the store and returned it. You should have returned it and buy it from other store, that would hurt them more. The computer software is built around coded business rules, so it's not like employees can just type stuff in and do whatever you want. They also have different agreements with manufacturers about returned products. Hence the return thing. Worker could care less. System did not have a button to fix but one to return. You bought a new one and it did not inconvenience him. Everyone wins. I've worked in places where we had to follow stupid policies like that. But we made every effort to hide it from the customer. The customer only ever saw us take back the defective item and give them a new one. They didn't see that we had to do the extra paperwork to follow the manufacturer's rules. You might have to do stupid things at work, but that's no reason to look stupid in front of your customers. And yeah, we'd sometimes eat the shipping costs. That's a cost of doing business. I bet the pickup and delivery are by two separate lorries despite being arranged for the same day. Delivery and collection are likely contracted to different companies. I bought a treehouse playset for my kids from Amazon because it was the best price. Had freight delivery. Built it and got the email about leaving a review. Price had dropped by $300. Amazon won't do a price match. But I could have returned it and repurchased it. I came so close to buying a new one, having it freighted to me, and then immediately returning it as the first one. But the freight window got within about 3 days of the return window, which was extra long because of Christmas. But that made me pretty mad. I did this sort of thing with a computer once. I bought the computer for $1,299 and then it went on sale a week later for $999. I asked if they could refund the difference since I was in the return window and they said no. Then I asked if I could return it at $1,299 and rebuy it at $999 and they said yes. It's all about figuring out which buttons are there for them to push. When I worked customer service, lawnmowers were always the most annoying thing to deal with. The store policy was they needed to be sent out for repair, not returned. And I knew the customer wasn't going to like that. Whenever I saw a customer come in with one, I'd purposely slow down what I was doing and hope someone else got to them first. C. If the worker was allowed to say, "Sorry, but unfortunately our policy to do what you are trying to do will require a two-part procedure. I can help you do it if you like," without getting yelled at for extra long call times. You wouldn't be as annoyed and he wouldn't be as full of hopelessness. Fuck call centers for being horribly abusive to their employees.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.